Native Americans have faced many different hardships in their life. There have been many different forms of stereotyping and racism and prejudice that have been acted out towards them. It's very predominant in television, movies, shows, music, and for the topic of this essay is obviously how American popular music has helped generate these different stereotypes against Native Americans. So the very early form of racially insensitive entertainment was as blackface minstrelsy. So the Pittsburgh EDU site explains how the blackface minstrelsy became the most popular form of entertainment prior to the 1830s in America. And it started with white actors dressing up as African Americans, so painting their faces black pretty much, and they would either do little skits in between acts or plays, or they would dress up as African American musicians playing banjos or violins, instruments like that. And it turns out that the white audiences really like that, and it's just when using minorities for entertainment kind of just skyrocketed. So I'll insert a few pictures of blackface just so we can put a picture to what I'm talking about. And so originally, I don't think the intention was to demean African Americans or make them seem less of a person. It was just simply a form of entertainment. But as time passed on, African Americans were eventually being ridiculed and were being used more as jokes, kind of joking about their identity and stereotypes that people had for them. So this is kind of where the cultural appropriation starts. And this is kind of what allowed singing Red Face to begin as well, because people are just so used to using minorities as entertainment, so Native Americans were just another good match for their motives. After the blackface minstrelsy, this started blackface in general, it started Jim Crow, and this just overall led to the racism against African Americans, which is why they are still mistreated in today's society. And this is important because singing Red Face is the reason why Native Americans are also still mistreated in society, because it just has such a broad impact on everything. And it's just so easy to listen to a pop culture song and then just blindly recite the lyrics and not even understand the lyrics or try to go into deeper meaning about what they could possibly mean. So mainstream artists releasing songs like these doesn't help the image that we already have for Native Americans. So a few examples of songs that sing Red Face. One is kind of a positive way to sing Red Face, and it was done by Marvin Rainwater, and he sang the song The Paleface Indian. And the textbook explains how he used this song to describe the hardships of Native Americans and the trials that they had to undergo. And pretty much he uses the song to spread knowledge about Native Americans that many people may not understand. And he was also part Cherokee, which allowed him to incorporate actual Native American beats into his song, because many songs that sing Red Face have Native American beats, but they aren't actual beats. They're just their idea of Native American beats. So they don't really have any significant meaning. They don't have honor beats or anything like that. That's just how they think Native American beats sound. There's also one other popular cover of this song, and it's Don Varden's cover of the song of the Paleface Indian. And he took his song to more of a folk song, kind of pop kind of version of the song, instead of a more serious spreading knowledge type of song. He renamed his cover of the song Indian Reservation. In his song, he removed some of the lyrics. The way that Marvin Rainwater intended his lyrics to be understood is a much more serious tone than how Don Farden wanted his song to be heard. He believed he was still singing about the hardships of Native Americans, but some of the lyrics that he took out caused a very significant change, even though he didn't realize it, but Native Americans obviously realized it. Don Farden also expressed idealized sympathy, and that is when people believe that they understand the struggles that a certain race has been through, but they actually don't. They just think they do, so they believe they are. And this is prevalent in his song because he sings in the point of view of a Native American whose land has been stolen. And I think him singing in that point of view thinks he's showing his audience that he understands what the Native Americans went through when they were forced to relocate from their land. But obviously he doesn't know anything about that. He's simply just singing song lyrics so that his audience thinks he understands what he's singing about. The catchy tune of the song is probably what caused it to reach so high on the charts. And the catchy tune of his song is probably what allowed his song to reach so high on the charts, the music charts. So it's good that music is able to reach to such a large audience, but it also hurts when the lyrics of the song don't have any deep or significant meaning and they kind of demean Native Americans. So there's pros and cons to how music is able to reach to different parts of the world. So just another topic that I'm going to talk about is racial antipathy. So racial antipathy is just a strong dislike towards a certain race, and racial antipathy is prevalent towards Native Americans because many people think that Native Americans are just savages and barbaric and they don't really have a brain to think for themselves, which obviously isn't true. It's just the picture that Westerners painted of Native Americans in their own heads. I think this was the driving force for singing Red Face because they don't have any respect for Native Americans, so they just thought they were a good topic to sing about and to make a profit off of. Probably many people agreed with the ideals that they were singing in their songs, so it just helped drive the support for singing Red Face. Westerners also created an image of Native Americans that is very generalized, pretty much just clothing with fringes on them, which was seen in Don Farden's music video. He had on a fringe top, and then also in the background of his music video, birds were seen. I think it was just stickers of birds stuck on the wall where the background dancers were dancing at, which is very stereotypical because many people associate Native Americans with animals such as horses or birds. That just shows that Westerners are just using stereotypes of Native Americans for profit for music video. And another reason why artists might sing Red Face is due to cultural confusion. Cultural confusion is when the understanding of an ethnic group is distorted due to the teachings of others. So pretty much Westerners have been exposed to the same image of Native Americans for as long as time can tell. It can be difficult to understand the true identity of Native Americans since many Westerners and white men have been passing this same idea down from generation to generation. It's just hard for us to actually learn the true meaning when something's been ingrained into our brains for so long. It's like we don't even have any effort to actually understand the true culture of Native Americans. And this makes it easier for white actors and children to play Indian, and playing Indian is when a person of non-native descent becomes a full-on Native American. And one example of this is seen in the Peter Pan movie. There's also a game called Cowboys and Indians, which many children play, and I think this is also a very old game that children have played for a very long time, which kind of drags on into adulthood, like cowboys are good, Indians are bad, we have to kill Indians. And that's just another example of that idea being ingrained into our minds, and we're not thinking twice about it, we're just simply reacting. There are many different elements for why artists sing Red Face. We have idealized sympathy, where we think we understand their struggles, but we simply don't. There's no way for us to understand unless we actually try or reach out to a Native American and ask them what happened, instead of using our predetermined ideals to associate their behaviors. Or we have racial antipathy, which is where we just have a strong dislike towards one race, and this isn't only towards Native Americans, it is also towards African Americans. And I think Westerners just have this fascination with demeaning minorities because they're simply curious about their life, and instead of actually learning about their life, they would rather create their own image of their life, something that entertains them, which is very harmful to those minority races, because then once they spread that ideal, the whole world is going to have the same ideal, and simply no one's just going to have any respect for them. So singing Red Face is just a product of all those combined. Singing Red Face can be stopped. There are many different Native American artists releasing music, such as Natani Means or Frank Wong. They create songs that sing about different topics about the aspects of Native American life, and I don't think these reach out to as large as an audience as they would hope to, but maybe one day with the use of social media and just the overall higher awareness of different cultures, then many people will start to listen to them and understand that singing Red Face it's not okay.